back to another session of Gallant Current Affairs and News Analysis. So, these are some of the topics we will be discussing today: the Birth and Death Registration Act, and some keywords like GitHub, INS Vidyargiri, xenotransplantation and ALS disease with some practice questions. Now, yesterday's practice question was, what is the significance of providing support to traditional artisans and craftsmen? Mention the challenge they face and state the steps that can be taken to address the issue. Yesterday we talked about the Vishwakarma scheme. So you could actually start an introduction by mentioning the Vishwakarma scheme, how it's going to help the artisans and other craftsperson, and it will be looking into 18 fields of different types of traders like goldsmith, blacksmith and such. Now first write their significance, because that's asked in the question. Enhance their income, productivity and quality and competitiveness. That is one of the significance that is available if they actually get supporting schemes like this. Access to new technology, new market, increase the competitiveness and also preserve their identity, dignity and maintain the traditionality in it. Then contribute to overall development of the rural economy that is presently in India. Now let us look into some of the challenges they face, like lack of awareness. Many people, because even if they don't have the technology or mobile phones, they doesn't know what are the schemes that the government has for their support. Now, lack of coordination between multiple governments, because there are many ministries and each of these schemes comes under different ministries. So, there is lack of coordination between them, and also lack of innovation, because what means that because of the traditionality they follow, they doesn't want to diverse from this to adopt more westernized methods of adding something so that it could be marketable. But because they are still sticking on to the traditional way, there is reducing competitiveness as well. Now, lack of protection, because majority of them doesn't know what is intellectual property rights are. Each of these traditions and techniques are unique by themselves. So, because of that, it's very vulnerable. If a person comes and asks, they might actually give it out of how it's made or what that stuff is. So, there can be increase in artificial elements. Artificial crafts may be created replicating the same one, losing their intellectual property rights over that traditional art. Limited market access, because there is a challenge, as I have told you in the Kanchipuram sari, the buyer has to go to Kanchipuram and buy it. So, there is actually limited market access for them. Skill transfer takes place via generation. They teach the crafts generation via generation, but the today's generation is not interested, because these types of tradition, crafts and acts is not paving any money to them. So, because of that, the younger generation are hesitant to learn such. Lower demand for the craft. Now, a lot of artificial goods are available, easily ready-made and cheaper materials are available, because of which people actually there is a reduction in demand for these type of traditional goods. Also, influx of mass-produced goods. Also, there is a lot of artificial intelligence, lot of machine-produced goods which are more cheaper in the market. So, people actually will prefer buying that. Even if like it's Puma or something, we actually buy for middle class. We buy more cheaper goods which are available. Just sticker of Puma is available there. So, like that, there is challenges faced by these traditional people. Now, Vishwakarma scheme, you can actually mention the recent Vishwakarma scheme. This is a slide which I have given yesterday itself. It's a central sector scheme that is fully sponsored by the central government. Financial outlay of 13,000 crores, and it is actually holds to 18 such trades and crafts. It actually gives a support total of 3 lakh rupees support with a rate of interest of about 5%. That is Vishwakarma scheme. And also there are similar other schemes I have told you about: the PM Swanidhi for street vendors, then PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, PM Employment Generation Program, then Ustad, Hunar Hand, all these I have told in detail yesterday. So, these are some of other schemes that is used. Now, moving on to today's topic, we have the Birth and the Death Registration Act. So, I have already taken this topic in detail in August 2. So, if you want a further reference, please go and see the video of August 2. But I will be giving you a glimpse today. So, this Birth and Death Registration Act was initially created in 1969, which actually made compulsory that all the birth and the death has to be registered under a uniform law across the India. Now, the amendment presently created is to make everything, these birth and death certificate, digitalized. So, this actually eliminates the need for multiple documentation to prove our birth and death and such. So, it will reduce the multiplication of other documents. Also, it also talks about appointment of a Registrar General of India and also a Chief Registrar, Chief Registrar for States and a Registrar General of India for National. Now, they also talk about creating a national and state level database. So, all this birth and death will be actually updated in the state database and will automatically get updated. All the state will come together in the national database. Also, the bill makes it mandatory for state to register the birth and death and everything updated on a common platform called the Center Civil Registration System. Center Civil Registration System is the main platform in which all the database will be accumulated from each state. Building database. So, as I told you, Registrar General of India has to maintain a national level database, whereas the Chief Registrar of the birth and death, that is the Chief Registrar, is the main head in a state who has to maintain all this data levels. Now, that is maintained using a portal that is approved by the RGI. These databases are to provide information like we collect all the birth and the death details. So, because of which updating of this will update other databases like the National Population Registry. It will add the number of births added and decrease the number of people who has actually died. Also, it will help in Aadhaar database, electoral rolls, ration cards, passports. So, this database is going to help everything. Now, simply is that if you are it will kind of update everything. Even if a person is born, that get updated, and when it's 18 years, we will know that the person is actually above 18 years of age, and the Election Commission of India can actually release the voter identity card for him as such, for him, her, they will automatically know the year or birth, they will send it automatically. Now we are actually going to, after 18 years of age, if we need a voter card, we actually go to the site, register it, and then we get. Now with this method, when they know the birth and such, they send it automatically. Now, in the case of birth, the amendments provide for collecting of the Aadhaar cards of the parents from the hospital itself. If a baby is born, the hospital staff such will actually collect the Aadhaar data. But no such actually verification or nothing is actually mentioned about a person, about the Aadhaar of a person who has been deceased. Now, updating many of these databases would require actually removing the names of the deceased. Now, if we are updating all the persons, we have to also decrease the number of persons who has actually deceased, but this is currently not happening. So, the question is actually, why do we need a state and a central based two different databases? Now, there is not two different databases. The state actually collects all the database and updates the national database register. It's totally the same. So, the question is, why do we need an RGI, Registrar General of India, whereas all the states are doing it themselves, and the RGI has no other function just apart from actually maintaining a central database. The RGI has collectively no other functions as such. The Chief Registrar, as I have told you, of each state are the executive authorities for the matter relating to registration of birth and death. The Registrar General of India just overlooks everything. Now, certification of the cause of the death. Now, usually we will get a certificate of death saying that this person has been deceased, but till now we didn't have a certificate mentioning the cause of the death. So, that is what is mentioned here. The medical practitioner, if the person dies in the hospital, they have to release a certificate stating why the person has died. If the person didn't die in a hospital but at home, like due to natural cause, old age, natural cause, people usually die at home during their sleep or such. So, in such cases, the person who has been a medical practitioner who has already been treating the person while he was alive should actually give a cause of death certificate. So, that is what is being mentioned here, but there are also loopholes and problems happening here. As per the author mentioned here, that the medical practitioner may not be actually always arrived at a definite diagnosis. If in a case of a rare disease, it's a very rare disease, so that the doctors or practitioners won't know the cause of the death suddenly. If a person really died, and even after postmortem, they don't know the real cause of the death. So, that is also one loophole where the doctors cannot provide an actual reason for the cause of the death. Another is that, if the cause of the death certificate is actually given out by an Ayush practitioner, such certification is actually not recognized by the WHO, our World Health Organization, and these are not classified as a international classification of disease certification as such. Now, if a person actually die of another cause of disease, if a person may be undergoing treatment for paralysis, but suddenly he dies because of an organ failure or such. So, because of these reasons, a cause of death can also not be mentioned correctly. As per the section 17 of the Act prohibits the inclusion of the cause of death in any certificate. Like previously, cause of death was not included, but presently they are asking to state that the cause of death certificate should also be mentioned. Now, what about the birth and death certificate? Now, if you want to, since now it's been digitalized, now if you want to actually put your children into school, preschool or such, you need actually the birth certificates. But the problem is that many of us won't have the birth certificate, but people won't actually digitalize all their birth certificates. So, what will happen to the people who doesn't have a digitalized birth certificate? What will their future be? So, that is also a question that the author has asked. Presumed death certificate. Now, in case of a natural calamity or accident like of an avalanche or landslide or flood as such, many people actually die or they go missing. So, for a person who has gone missing as such, the death certificate is not actually released suddenly. For 7 years there is a waiting gap, and then a certificate is released stating as presumed death. So, this problem is actually not addressed. The family has to wait till 7 years to actually get the presumed death certificate. So, if that person we are talking about is presumed dead, that person is the sole bread earner of the family. The problem is that without this death certificate, they won't even get the pension of the person. So, they have to wait till 7 years to avail or get any benefits as such. So, this provision is actually neglected or not included in this act. So, that is what the whole article was dealing about. Next, moving on to a next question, we have the GitHub. Now, GitHub is an AI platform, is the world's largest open source developer community platform. Now, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we take photos and we actually upload in them. Similarly, in this platform what they do is that we do the code, we have projects and such, which is actually uploaded in this platform so that all the people can see. It works similarly as we have a community network like Facebook and Instagram. Similarly, if you are looking in a worldwide platform for the coding, for the projects, all the IT developers and the computer engineers do, these are actually uploaded in this space in GitHub so that the public can view it. You can actually view it, edit it, tweak it. So, these are some of the benefits of using GitHub. So, under this platform, any developer, anyone can actually upload whatever software code or app code. You can even create an application or app in this platform. The software ideas they have and can be collaborate with other people. Like we get for collaborations, we have in Instagram, we have collaboration with multiple partners to create a reel or even put out an ad. Such collaborations is actually possible in this platform also. Any public project can be actually viewed by others on this platform, and most of the features of this platform are free for users, like not fully free, but majority of this majority is actually applicably free for the other users. So, you see here, if you are taking in the previous year in 2022, India's population or India's users account for 24% of the projects, all the 24% of the AI related projects in GitHub. India accounts for 24% of all the AI projects has been uploaded in GitHub, but China actually dominates. China dominates the AI related journal publication as such. So, moving on to some of the what is allowed in GitHub and all. So, GitHub has a long standing policy to actually content involving harassment, discrimination or inciting violence as such. They have such policies against it. But last year, in 1 to 2 years before, you might have heard about this Bully Buy app. Now, in this app, there is an app created using this platform. A person used to actually upload pictures of Muslim women which was taken from other WhatsApp, Instagram and such, and they used to upload this in this Bully Buy app, and other users used to bid on the woman. This was actually about a sexual harassment for Muslim women. This has been in news and highlighted in news in last 1 to 2 years ago. So, this application was created using the GitHub, and it was actually used for sexual harassment. Now, posting any other violent content, misinformation or fake news is also actually prohibited. It does not also allow doxing, which means revealing of personal information with malicious intent and then invasion of privacy. It's like ransomware, malware, such. So, doxing is also not allowed. Any sexually obscene scene or pornographic content is actually not allowed. And also, if anyone violates all these rules, has been rules given out by GitHub, they can actually block or remove that person. Work similarly like Facebook and such. If you are violating some contents created by them, they could actually block us. So, that is about GitHub. So you see, you can actually connect it with whatever Facebook, Instagram we have, but it's an open mode of software doc where people, anyone, a developer, an IT person can actually upload any coding software projects they have done or any artificial intelligence as such in this platform. Now moving on, we have the IAS Vindhyagiri. So this IAS Vindhyagiri is a part of project 17 Alpha, which was actually launched in 2019. Now this was created by a Kolkata base called the Garden Research Shipbuilders and Engineers. So this is a body that has actually created IAS Vindhyagiri. It is a series of 3 ships under project 17A Alpha. Now this was actually project 19A Alpha was launched in the Indian Navy in 2019 to construct a series of stealth guided missile frigates. The stealth means that they won't be trackable by any of radars. So it will be obsolete and they are not trackable, so they can actually travel easily. So these are currently being constructed by 2 companies. One is the Mazagon Dog Shipbuilders and the other is the Garden Research Shipbuilder, which I have told you about. So this Garden Research actually created IAS Vindhyagiri. Now if you are looking into this, this has been created in 2019. It is actually a frigate class, a multi-role naval warship is being created. Now it was launched in 28 September 2019 and is to be commissioned expected by 2022. Now it's beyond 2022. Now it consists of a series of ships, like about 7 ships. The first one is INS Nilgiri. So this is nicknamed as Nilgiri class frigates. It's also nicknamed as Nilgiri class frigates. Then the others include INS Himgiri, Udayagiri, Dungiri, Taragiri, Vindhyagiri and Mahendragiri. There are a lot of giris. So just remember project 17A destroyers and you can see of 7 giris. So like that you could use it as nickname. So these are Nilgiri class frigates. As I have told you, they are specifically stealth designed, so they won't actually come under any radars and they will be undetectable to other enemies. The first stealth launch is under project 17A is Nilgiri, so it's also nicknamed as Nilgiri class. Because this is indigenous, 75% of the orders constructed under project 17A is indigenous, so we are kind of promoting our Atmanirbhar Bharat as well. So remember the name. So you could actually, we can get prelims questions stating about what is INS Vindhyagiri, which projects it comes under, what kind of ship that is, stealth class frigate ship. So that we have to know. We will see one question at the end about this. Now we have xenotransplantation. This is an article from our Indian Express. So first we need to know what is xenotransplantation. Now it means that we have, like in India, we have a lot of requirement because lung transplantation happens. So because of which we don't get majority of liver transplantation. We don't get majority livers from other human beings. So we need to develop another technology by which we can get liver so that a person lives. So to actually benefit that, we have genetically modified pig heart. It was the first ever transplant that was created. What they do is they actually edit their genes. They actually remove one of the undesirable genes and then add a desirable gene by which they create embryos, and these embryos form into pigs, that is genetically modified pigs. And these pigs tissues and other lung, livers and such can be actually transplanted, heart, liver and such can be actually transplanted to humans so that they are more compatible. The pigs and anatomy, the pigs and humans anatomy is actually a bit similar, so we could actually like have liver transplantation much more easily. And these patients should also take some kind of immunosuppressant because they might be susceptible to some other kind of diseases as such. So at the time after their liver transplantation, they have to take some kind of immunotransparent. So a person, a human recipient actually got a liver, that person kind of lived only for 61 days after the transplant. So we are actually looking like no person who has actually got a transplant has lived beyond 2 to 3 months. So we are actually transcribing on what are the pros and cons. Xenotransplantation actually involves the transplantation of non-human tissues and other organs in the human recipients. As I have told you, the gene editing, this is called the gene editing, when you are actually cutting undesirable gene and putting a new gene. So that is called as gene editing. It's a group of technology that gives scientists the ability to change the DNA structure. It is one of the biggest obstacles of transplantation is the organ rejection. Even after liver transplantation, 1 month the organ might get rejected. It won't be susceptible to the body part. So that's one of the biggest obstacles we can actually see here. As in India, we have a lot of requirement of liver transplantation. In India, per annum, we have requirement of about 25,000 to 30,000 liver. Now, this target could actually be met with liver transplantation. Now, previously, we could actually only provide about 1,500 livers, so the rest of them actually succumb to their or they pass away. So now we could actually solve this problem we have presently. So pigs are increasing, like they are easy to breed and are fully grown, like they grow adult human size in 6 months, adult size in 6 months. So its advantage is that we could actually get the transplant very easily, and the pigs are increasingly becoming a popular candidates for this organ transplantation. The pig's anatomical and physiological parameters are similar to that of humans, and the breeding of pigs and farm is widespread and cost effective. So if you are looking at everything, the xenotransplantation is actually very cost effective, it is not that time consuming, and you can actually get liver transplantation. But the success rate, these are developing technologies, and we will know the success rate of these technologies in the future. Now moving on, we have a last topic, we have ALS disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS disease. Now this is a neurodegenerative disease. We have motor nerves which actually controls a part of the body like talking, chewing, sleeping, walking, everything is controlled by our nerves. So this ALS actually affects our nervous system, it shuts down our motor nerves, and we can't then talk, we can't walk, it's become our body fully gets paralyzed, and the people who get ALS can only communicate with their eyes like blinking and such is the only way through which they could actually talk. Now all these nervous cells progressively die, and then each part of the body kind of shut down. The muscles depending upon these are unable to function or move, and they gradually shut down. ALS is a progressive disease. Not everything actually happens completely together, but it's progressive. You get actually a little bit of nervous motor neurons being affected one after another. So it's a progressive disease. Now currently there is actually no effective cure for ALS as a very rare disease, and the probability chance is very less, so because of which we don't have a defined set of vaccine or anything or any kind of treatment which is available for ALS as such. While the disease progresses, like we can see, like on an average the person who gets ALS lives for about 3 years. Now rare disease tag. In India we have a national policy for rare diseases, where like rare diseases the medication which we need to get is very expensive because it's very rare and not commonly available. So actually the central government provides financial assistance of about 50 lakh rupees. Now the rare, what is the rare? How should a person what is the category that a person should come under to be rare? As per WHO defines, 1 out of 1000 is considered as rare. If a person gets a rare disease, which like only 1 out of 1000 persons could get, that is a rare disease. But as per this policy, NPRD, 1 to 6 out of 10,000. 1 to 6 out of 10,000 is considered as a rare disease. So this ALS, even if it is a rare disease as per the WHO definitions, it is not a rare disease as per this NPRD definition. So there is actually a problem with getting actually funds or any finance related to this issue as well. Now let us look at more into national policy for rare disease. So this is national policy. It increased focus in indigenous research and development for the medications for rare diseases. Then it actually lowers the cost of treatment. So we are actually deriving the medicines indigenously. So reduction in cost of medicines, and we can actually detect these rare diseases much more easily. Now this actually divided into 3 groups. The group 1 has disorders amendable 1/3, one-time curative treatment. In one-time curative treatment we could actually disorders the disease. The other group 2 is diseases requiring long-term treatments or lifelong treatments, and then other group 3 is diseases with available treatment but challenges in patient selection, high cost and lifelong therapy. So these are 3 groups that has been majorly considered under this national policy for rare disease. There has been creating centers of excellence has been created for the research, development and giving proper medication to the people who has been affected by by rare diseases. Then financial support, as I have told you, 50 lakh of financial support for a person who gets rare disease. Also a national register will be created for registering all these rare diseases, and also other concerns is the lack of sustainable funding for, like we see 1 in 1000 was a rare disease, but as per the definition of NPRD 1 to 6 in 10,000 is actually considered rare. So, the lack of funding not even be getting for desirable rare diseases, prohibit cost of drugs of rare diseases are high cost efficiencies and limited global and domestic manufactured drug for these diseases. Even if we are carrying out this research, we need that kind of capability of technology and such and infrastructure for the development. So, this is some of the concern that has been raised. So, this is the National Rare Disease Policy. Now, this is the practice question, this is the last practice question. Which one of the following is the best description of IAS Ashtadharani that was recently in use? This is a previous year question, like it's 2016, you need not actually learn much about. I was just showing it to show a pattern of how the questions can come in the case if there is a naval ship, Indian Navy ships are asked. They could ask you the INS Nilgiri is which class, we could ask by stealth frigate, they could be asked, but this answer is torpedo launch and recovery vessel. Torpedo launch and recovery vessel is the answer. This is a model question what you can actually get from current type of news systems. So, that is it for today. You can get the PDF from our Telegram channel Gallant IAS. Thank you, have a nice day and we will be seeing again tomorrow.